Chris, what is our first main topic today?
We are first hearing from Isaac Beeby. Hi, John. We all know that most TV shows that release week to week have a previously on before the start of every episode to catch people up. But when it comes to movies, sequels, and future installments, they often release years apart from each other. So my question is, do you think movies should also have the same thing? Especially for those who may have either A, not seen the previous films, or B, not rewatched the previous films recently prior to seeing the new one. Thanks, and bring on the filthy.
All right, thanks a lot for sending that in, Isaac. And you know, every day I start going through the list of all the questions that got sent in and all that kind of stuff. And there's hundreds of them that come in, so I kind of breeze through them. And I came across this message that Isaac just sent in. And I'm like, no, that's not a topic. And I just kept going. But for some reason, it kept itching inside my brain. And I went back and I read the question again. I thought about it some more. It's like, you know what? This is worth a conversation. Because he raises a really interesting point. When we watch a TV series, most of the time we're watching a new episode literally just 1 week after we saw the last episode. And to kind of set the stage for this new episode we're going to watch, a few years ago, TV shows started this trend. I can't remember which was the first show to do it, but they started this trend by starting new episodes with previously on The Wire. Although I don't think The Wire was after The Wire. Previously on Castle or whatever. And they do like a 30-second montage that kind of highlights some key narrative points and story points and maybe reminds you some things that maybe happened in a previous season or whatever that will be relevant to this. Because, you know, if some guy shows up at the door and our hero goes, oh my gosh, I haven't seen you forever. And we're going, wait a minute, who is that again? You know, the previously on can set that up for us, right? It actually works really well on television. I grew an appreciation for that. And now I actually look for it when I'm starting a new episode. And actually, when I come across the odd episode of television that doesn't have that previously on, it kind of throws me off a little bit. But I never thought about the notion of having that at the beginning of a movie, particularly a sequel. You know, a sequel or a movie that is a part of a franchise. A movie that starts with previously on Ant-Man, and then then having Michael Pena show up and give a quick, okay, so here's what happens, and run through the whole thing. And I gotta say, my first thought is no. But if we appreciate it so much for a show that we just saw the week before, could there not be benefit with starting a movie, say a Doctor Strange to Multiverse of Madness, starting it off with a 45-second of previously in the MCU, and then highlighting some key points of some things that really set the stage for us going into the movie? I first read the question and I breezed over thinking that's ridiculous, but is it ridiculous? I'm not so convinced that it is. I'm starting to think with the franchisation of a lot of things like the MCU and whatever, and the MCU for over a decade has been treated like one long television series, really. There could be some benefit to it. I don't know. I got a lot of different thoughts on it. Chris, you see this, you hear this question. It's like, could movies that are part of franchise, sequels, third parts, whatever, sometimes 1, 2, 3, 4 years in between them, is it a silly idea, or is there some benefit to the idea of starting movies like that?
You know, I think there's actually something here. And at first I was like, absolutely not. Because when I see the previously on, and we talked about this a little bit yesterday, right? I have a hard time turning my brain off for this is what's going to happen this episode. This is what's going to happen in this movie. And when I get the previously on and I see certain guest stars pop up, right? It's, oh, that's our plot point this time. Oh, this is going to happen. Oh, I kind of already know the groundwork of the episode. But then it got me thinking about the Michael Pena one that you brought up, right, which I would love if we did that instead of Nicole Kidman in front of a movie.
Oh, damn right.
Right? Use that time to recap me on the Marvel Universe. Or, man, think about how knowledgeable I could be about the Fast franchise.
If they started Hobbs and Shaw with previously in the Fast and the Furious
I wouldn't
universe.
have to watch a damn thing, and I'd know exactly what's going on. Because chat, you keep giving me misdirections on this. Some of you are like, absolutely watch Fast. Others are like, Chris, you're not missing anything.
Yeah, not missing much.
I feel like I need to watch it for this show, though. We all talk about it so much. So I do think for
watch
certain
Fast 5, 6, 7, and 8. And
okay.
you should be all right.
There we go.
Hey guys, we want to take a moment and thank the sponsor of today's video, Peloton. Now listen, in the never-ending quest to try to stay in shape, one of the keys is to vary up your workout and your exercises to make sure you avoid losing your motivation and keep from getting burnt out from doing the same thing over and over again. Peloton has you covered. I know for me, one of the keys was getting my Peloton tread and using the Peloton app to get my varied workouts in. And Peloton just keeps pushing you forward with new classes, new music, new ways to keep your workouts fun and motivating. One of the newer offerings that has me personally really excited is their boxing classes. Peloton is stepping into the ring with its newest discipline, and you don't even have to have any gloves. Discover a fast, furious, and fun workout with Peloton instructors in your corner. Even if you've never boxed before, these classes will have you working up a sweat while working on the fundamentals of form, footwork, and fun combos that will keep you on your toes. Peloton has a workout for every day and every kind of schedule. So guys, right now, visit onepeloton.com to learn more. That's onepeloton.com.
I think, though, that for certain franchises, I do think it makes sense to have a nice little recap, especially if you can make it an in-universe thing, like, you know, that kind of quick speed Ant-Man recap. I love that kind of idea.
Ray, what do you think about this?
You know, someone in the chat brought up a great example. M. Joseph B, I think he said the Rocky movies kind of do like a little recap in the beginning, right? You know, like, but it's a little bit more of the recap of the last fight. It's not really of the story. So, but that's the only one I could think of. The problem with the recap thing is a lot of sequels, they have nothing to do with the first movie. They're trying to do something completely different, like a completely different story.
True. Yeah.
Unless it's like the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which is a special case because everything connects. I don't know if people really need those recaps in a way where it would actually hit home with someone. Like, oh, that recap. I now know how close these two people are. So in this movie, I don't think it'll have that impact like just watching the movie would. I don't know. It'll just make the movie longer to me. So for me, that's a no.
Why does Rob's face right now look like I just said, hey, Rob, Star Trek sucks?
Oh,
anyway,
no.
But what about this for an idea? I don't know if you guys remember the Edward Norton Hulk movie. Edward Norton, of course, my co-star.
Yeah.
In that Hulk movie.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, man.
I
That's
don't
how
think
he
he really
introduces
like
himself
served
now.
you in that film,
Yeah.
but you did great.
Whenever he enters the room, John Campea's co-star in the Hulk.
That's
Edward
crazy
Norton.
how much screen time you gave him.
I was very generous.
Very generous.
I was very generous. But if you remember that movie started in a really interesting way because they didn't want to go back and tell the Hulk origin story again. So what they did was, not a ton of movies today have opening credits. There are still movies that have opening credits, but they use like basically opening credits, the music playing do, and they used the first minute or two to show newspaper clippings, news footage, blah, that basically told the story of the origin of this Hulk. Mm-hmm. So that we didn't need to use movie time to go through the whole origin story
and
again.
even better, it was the correct origin story as opposed to Eric Bana.
It was the correct. Phantom Nick Nolte did not create him. So what if they used, instead of like the traditional television previously in the MCU, what if they did something like that? What if they incorporated like opening credits or like a minute and a half long, and in those opening credits showing us quick little clips and reminders of relevant things to this new movie that have happened in the MCU previously that sets us up. Like if it was Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, you'd probably see a clip of like Wanda going mad and, you know, something about Doctor Strange saying something in one of the movies. I don't know.
You know, with that example, I think it would help with showing if it was important to the story of Doctor Strange too, the WandaVision stuff, everything, because some people didn't watch the show at all.
Exactly.
So that's where it would work. Philip Maddox in the chat brought up Back to the Future. Did they do a little recap in the beginning?
It's been so long I can't remember.
But if that were the case, that's one where I think it would work just because of the type of movie it is. But I don't know. Sometimes during the movie you get recaps anyways, like those flashbacks to me are recaps. If it's important to the story for people to get something, then fine. But I don't think all sequels need it.
Now, yeah, maybe not. Listen, we joke about it, but I honestly still completely 100% believe I think for every new Marvel project that comes out, Marvel should get Michael Pena as the MCU beloved character Luis, and just do a YouTube video that gets put out 2 weeks before a movie or a new Disney Plus series goes. Goes, okay, so and it's basically, so 2 weeks before Doctor Strange comes out, boom, you drop this Luis thing online. So anybody who hasn't watched WandaVision, for anybody who maybe didn't catch up on something that happened with Doctor Strange before or whatever, you got Luis doing some insanely entertaining 90-second thing that leads up to the beginning of Doctor Strange. I think that would be, number one, incredibly cheap marketing to do. Number two, would be wildly successful online. Those videos would break the internet every single time they drop.
Absolutely.
And number three, I think encourage a lot of people. I think it would be better than any trailer. I think those things would sell a movie better than 80% of the trailers that they could put out. I mean, there are still some trailers who do a better job, but I mean, I just think it would be incredible.
You know what? I already envisioned in my head that happening before the Marvel Studios logo comes up. You know how it flips the comic book pages and then the Marvel Studios? Right before that, they should do the Michael Pena thing, where it's like the flipping of the comic book pages, but of what he's talking about. And then it morphs into the Marvel Studios logo. I don't know. There's
a lot of ways
I really
to
like
do
that
it.
idea.
But I mean, I guess just the point is that this idea came in, and I'm like, I instantly dismissed it. But the more I think about it, it's like,
think it'd be kind of fun.
there could be benefit to doing something like this. And it could benefit the studio too in several different ways. I don't know. Question is for you guys. What do you think about the idea of sequel, not just MCU, like anything, of sequels kind of establishing some form, in whatever form it would take, some form of previously on? Could that be beneficial to viewers? Are there ways you could do it that would also benefit the studio? Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts.